Hello everyone, Weather Jamaica here. Welcome to this updated video on the weather across Jamaica and the rest of the Caribbean. It is Saturday evening, June 22, 2024. Now before we jump into it, please ensure that you guys like the video. I'd really appreciate it if you guys get this video up to 100 likes. If you don't know by now, that's how the YouTube algorithm works. We all like the video and then the YouTube algorithm pushes the video out to more weather lovers or rain lovers just like you guys, so that we can build this weather community in time for the peak of Atlantic hurricane season. That's August through to October, so that we can keep everyone safe. Share this video with your friends, your co-workers, your relatives, and even your church brethren, and subscribe if you haven't yet done so. Leave a comment down below letting me know what the has been like in your area recently. Also feel free to ask any other related question that you might have about the future of the weather in your specific area. Alright, so let us take a look at this post from the Hurricane Tracker app. If you're not already following this page on Twitter, you need to fix that as soon as possible. They make some very accurate posts about what's happening across the Atlantic, and they just made a post last night at about 7:38 p.m. highlighting the main development region. Basically what we've been pointing out, some possible development coming from the main development region heading into the Caribbean, and we saw that in other posts that we highlighted. So they stated here, the main development region MDR may try to come alive by next weekend. Euro ensembles showing activity multiple runs now. We'll be watching, of course. So we remember that the GFS and the CMC or the GEM model was showing that there's something that's going to be pushing westward and making it close to Jamaica, and now the Euro model has come on board. All of these blue lines are referring to some kind of supercomputer model from the European model. We see a lot of blues. We know the blues represent maybe tropical depression status, the greens represent tropical storm status, the yellows represent hurricane status. Either way, all of these are in consensus that something is going to try to form across the main development region within the next 7 days and push towards the west-northwest to the Caribbean, making it possible into the Caribbean. And the thing is, although the US National Hurricane Center hasn't highlighted anything as yet, we know that could definitely change, if not tomorrow, definitely next week. So we just have to stay updated, because we know as soon as they highlight something, it's definitely going to be getting serious. So we're going to be here for that code yellow if we indeed get that, because we know sometimes these models can show these things and then later on they change their mind, which is why we have to always stay updated, because they're not set in stone. Either way, the latest from the US National Hurricane Center on their 7-day graphical tropical weather outlook shows that that area that was across the southeastern United States has now hit land, and now it has a 0% chance of cyclone formation within the next 7 days. We still have that area across the western Gulf of Mexico that has now been decreased from a 60 to a 50 now to a 40% chance of cyclone formation within the next 7 days, especially considering that the Central American gyre is dying out. We didn't expect to have much moisture at all from the system, so it doesn't seem like Beryl will be formed anytime soon. However, according to the US National Hurricane Center's Atlantic Tropical Weather Discussion, they've highlighted something that I could not skip over. So they stated right here, so let's zoom in and read. It states here, a central Caribbean tropical wave along 74 degrees west, south of 17 degrees north, is moving westward at 10 to 15 knots. Scattered moderate convection is just northeast of Jamaica, impacting Caribbean approaches to the windward passage. And what are they referring to? They're talking about the fact that there's a tropical wave somewhere right here near Jamaica. As a matter of fact, let's look at the surface map so that we can see exactly what they're referring to. So the tropical wave is definitely right here to the east of us across the central Caribbean, and it's expected to push more towards the west. And they've also stated that majority of the convection associated with this tropical wave is across portion of the windward passage. The windward passage is right here between Cuba and Haiti, and we can definitely see that we have a lot of clouds, showers and thunderstorms across the area. So we know these things usually are pushed from east to west. Definitely we're gonna be experiencing some wet weather tomorrow. As a matter of fact, we might even start getting in on that wet weather tonight across some spots in Jamaica. Definitely across section of Jamaica tomorrow, and during the afternoon as usual across the western end. So if you're gonna get that laundry done, I try to get it done, if not today, maybe tonight into early tomorrow morning, even although there's a lot of rainfall in the forecast for the east. If we actually take a look at the forecast regarding the system that should be coming from the main development region, not to mention the forecast for rainfall across Jamaica. So we know these maps, we're looking at degrees that represent the amount of moisture, and we're also looking at the time frame right here at the top, so keep your eyes there while we look through both the Euro and the GFS model. You know, these are the two supercomputer models that we use the most for accurate forecasting, and we always look for consensus, we look for agreement in what both of them are showing. So we're just going to be going up to the next 168 hours, that's the next 7 days, just like what the US National Hurricane Center would do. So we can see that we have some amount of rainfall coming into section of Jamaica. We see more greens across portions of Jamaica right here. Some greens that represent rainfall for, what time is this? 12Z on Sunday, which is actually 7 a.m. on Sunday. So associated with that tropical wave, we're definitely going to be getting on that rainfall, and we see that goes into Sunday afternoon as well. Then going out in time, we start to see more of that green coming into portion of the Caribbean associated with the tropical waves, and we might have some amount of development, as we can see there, with some amount of yellows in there. So there's definitely some amount of rainfall coming to our area, and there's definitely more where that came from even after that one passes. That's the Euro model. Let us see what the GFS model is showing. So we can definitely see the greens that represent rainfall, the same time frame, 7 a.m. on Sunday, especially across eastern and northern Jamaica. Going out ahead in time, we see that even by afternoon on Sunday, we still have a lot more rainfall across Jamaica. Then as we push some more throughout the week, we start to see the rainfall associated with the tropical wave. Here it is right here by 7 a.m. on a Thursday. Lots of greens, especially to the south of the island. We'll see exactly what unfolds with that. Either way, by 168 hours, we see that majority of the heaviest rain associated with it has now pushed off into the Western Caribbean, possibly affecting sections of the Yucatan Peninsula of Mexico. So we'll actually see if that system actually makes it to tropical depression or tropical storm status, or if it will just stay a strong tropical wave. Either way, we'll take the rainfall. We'll definitely take the rainfall to cool down the temperatures. We can't take the bad weather at all. We don't want any power outages, no strong winds or anything like that. Don't want the mosquitoes to be having us for dinner. Either way, if we take a look at the accumulated precipitation forecast for the next 7 days, we can see that the Euro is a bit more robust than the GFS, showing more of those purples, even some burgundy colors in there that represent anywhere up to 2 to 7 inches of a rainfall. Euro is a bit reserved with the rainfall forecast. GFS a bit more robust. Either way, we'll take the rainfall. We're in the month of June. We're in our secondary rainy season, so we'll definitely take all the rainfall that we can get to put some kind of a dent in the hydrological drought that some areas are experiencing, not to mention the very warm temperatures. And as mentioned earlier, if we actually get something after Alberto, considering that it is now done with, our next name is Beryl, followed by Chris and Debbie. And it's not impossible for us to get some amount of systems this hurricane season, especially in June, even although June is not the peak of Atlantic hurricane season, especially with all of these very warm waters, all of these very warm sea surface temperatures, as indicated by the yellows, the oranges right here, especially across the main development region right here, the main area where most of these systems develop. Very warmer than normal, and we know all of what develops pushes from east to west, so we definitely have to keep an eye out on what the models are looking at. And the thing is, the waters are not only warm at the surface, but they're warm the deeper we go into the ocean. This map is showing the tropical cyclone heat potential, showing how warm the waters are at a very great depth, and we can see that the warmest waters are right here around Jamaica, the Cayman Islands, where we see all of those reds. That is some ridiculous warm water, because the thing is, when it comes to these low level areas of spin, these tropical systems that become hurricanes, when they're passing over an area and moving from east to west, they definitely suck up the warm water, but more so on the surface of the ocean, like what we're seeing here. Which is why usually when we see a major hurricane, if we take a look back at these maps a couple days after the hurricane has passed, we kind of see a blue cold wake in the very track that the hurricane was moving over, which shows that the hurricanes were definitely sucking up a lot of warm water. But the thing is, with these warm waters to a great depth, the systems have a lot to work with, especially if they stall over an area. They're still gonna be churning up more warm water, and we don't want to be here in Jamaica if we actually get something stalled out and to be using up all the very warm water around us at all. Alright, so let us take a look at the surface map of the Atlantic for this evening. As stated earlier, yes, we have a tropical wave to the east of Jamaica that's going to be affecting us on Sunday. We have numerous ridges of high pressure that we know are responsible for sending all of the easterly trade winds, along with the tropical waves, as well as the saran dust from east to west. And we see multiple tropical waves right here, and we can see them all even better on the visible satellite images of Jamaica before the sun started going down. As a matter of fact, let's reload these images so that we have the latest. So we can definitely see the clouds associated with that very long tropical wave that we have here east of the islands. Clouds associated with the intertropical convergent zone. Clouds associated with the tropical wave. No affecting Haiti than anything. There's a lot of thunderstorm activity. And we can see clouds associated with what was left of the Central American gyre, still affecting portions of Cuba, section of the waters of the Gulf of Mexico right there, the Costa Rica, Panama area. There's nothing new there. They always are getting bad weather down there. Section of Venezuela, Guyana, Suriname, and French Guiana getting on some amount of thunderstorms as well. We'll be talking more about the rest of the Caribbean weather later on. Let us focus our attention on the prediction that was made in yesterday's video about the weather across Jamaica for today, Saturday, June 22. It was stated that we would have received some morning rainfall across sections of some eastern parishes in Jamaica, and then some rainfall across sections of some central and western parishes. So we made mention that there would be a pattern change, so not necessarily northern and western at all, but definitely central and western parishes. And just for reference, we know eastern parishes, we're talking about those parishes in the county of Surrey, so Portland, St. Thomas, Kingston, St. Andrew. Central parishes, we're talking about those parishes in the county of Middlesex, so St. Anne, St. Mary, Manchester, Clarendon, St. Catherine. While western parishes, we're talking about those parishes in the county of Cornwall, so St. Elizabeth, Westmoreland, Hanover, St. James, and Trelawney. And what ended up happening? Yes, we indeed had some amount of isolated rainfall across eastern Jamaica. I was in St. Thomas, I live here, and I definitely had my fair share of rainfall. I even videoed some of the rain and sent to my friends in Kingston who said that it was sunny. But I didn't post this on my page at all at that point. At that point, I wanted to go to sleep, considering that it was raining in my ear. But during the afternoon now, a post was made on our Twitter page. It was posted here at Weather Jamaica. It was also posted on Instagram at weather.jamaica, on our TikTok page at Weather Jamaica, and on our Facebook page at Weather Jamaica 876. So if you have one of those social media platforms, please ensure that you follow us there as we make posts throughout the day that you can't afford to miss at all. And we saw that the visible satellite image was showing clouds bringing overcast skies and isolated shores to sections of some southern parishes, and some thunderstorms across sections of St. Catherine and Clarendon. That was at 12:25 p.m., but it definitely got even more robust as the day progressed, as we saw another post that was made at 2:55 p.m. highlighting the infrared satellite images showing the thunderstorms, as we know, are represented by the high cold cloud tops in the blues, the greens, the yellows, oranges, reds, and the blacks. Lots of thunderstorms definitely took place across sections of St. Catherine, Clarendon, Manchester, sections of St. Elizabeth, sections of Westmoreland, and even sections of Hanover, St. James, and Trelawney got in on the mix. And if we take a look at some of our comments coming in from our followers on our Instagram page, we had 876 eggs, raining cats and dogs in Manchester. That was posted 4 hours ago. Another post here from Princess Stewart 52 stating, yes, it's raining in southwest St. Elizabeth. And we can see it all even better on the visible satellite images of Jamaica before the sun went down. Most of the clouds were definitely confined to sections of more southern parishes than anything else, but some northern parishes definitely got in on some of the rainfall. We can see it all right here. We see it all even better on the latest infrared satellite images that show the thunderstorms, and we can also see that majority of it is dying down as we speak. Most of these clouds starting to definitely clear out. Even the Cuban Doppler radar images are showing that there is more rainfall dissipating as we speak. Some rainfall right there between Haiti and Jamaica. Some rainfall right there off to the west of the island as well. And if we actually take a look at See Jamaica's YouTube channel, we can see that we definitely had more of a sunny day than anything else. This is definitely the halfway tree cam, and we can see even if we backtrack, it was more so partly cloudy, especially during the afternoon, more so sunny during the morning. Didn't have much in the way of rainfall at all across the corporate area today anyway. But we can definitely see on the Caribbean Institute for Meteorology and Hydrology website that where the rainfall took place was where we saw it on the satellite images: eastern Jamaica, section of northern St. Catherine, Clarendon, Manchester, St. Elizabeth, section of Trelawney, section of southern St. James, Hanover, and Westmoreland. Definitely gotten on the thunderstorm activity, and I'm sure those persons are indeed grateful for that. As it relates to the temperatures right now, we can see about 27 degrees Celsius in both Montego Bay and Kingston, and by about 4 a.m. on Sunday, temperature should dip down to about 25 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 26 degrees Celsius in Kingston. As it relates to the temperature forecast for tomorrow, this map from the GFS is showing 18 on Sunday, which is actually 1 p.m. on Sunday. And we see Jamaica, for the most part, embedded in some grey colors. And we know the grey colors, as we can see from the key right here on the right, represents average or normal temperatures. That's what we like to see. And we know the normal temperatures for the month of June across Jamaica are about 90 degrees Fahrenheit. When we take a look at the thermometer, 90 degrees Fahrenheit is about the same as 32.2 degrees Celsius. So that's the temperature forecast for Jamaica on Sunday. As it relates to the dry air map, we can see the dry air is represented by the key on the bottom, the yellows, the oranges, the reds, and the whites within those reds. The driest areas right here off the coast of Africa with all of these reds. Some dry air across the northern portion of North Atlantic, some dry air in the Caribbean. But what we like to see is more of these blues than anything else. All the blues represent a lot of moist air, which explains all of the wet weather, especially during the afternoon that we've been experiencing. And there's a lot more where that came from tomorrow, considering that we're going to be affected by a tropical wave. As it relates to the Saharan dust forecast for 2 p.m. on Sunday, we can definitely see all the browns that represent the Saharan dust stretching all the way from Africa across the Mediterranean region into the Caribbean. Jamaica should definitely be spared tomorrow. Jamaica is right here under the word port for Port-au-Prince, and we don't see much Saharan dust coming into our area, and we're indeed grateful for that. Taking a look at the wave forecast for tomorrow, we see by the key on the bottom right, the blues should be surrounding the island. That represents anywhere from 1 to 1.5 meter wave heights, and that's because the winds are going to be averaging anywhere from 15 to 20 knots. And we also see the general direction having the winds coming in from the east across the island. We also see that we're going to be having the least amount of winds across sections of central and western Jamaica. So we might just have some more afternoon rainfall across those spots again. Whatever comes off of the sea from the east definitely going to be affecting sections of St. Thomas, Portland, maybe even spilling into sections of Kingston, St. Andrew associated with this tropical wave. Then as usual, the afternoon causes clouds to build, and then we have the afternoon rainfall or the thunderstorm activity across sections of some central and western parishes, and with the upper level winds still coming in from the north across the island. It could favor more overcast skies and isolated shores to sections of some southern parishes, just like what we got today. We saw that when we had the thunderstorms building across the island today. Most of the high cold cloud tops were being blown off from north to south, bringing more overcast skies to sections of some southern parishes. We'll take the overcast skies. Even if we don't get the rainfall, we'll definitely take the overcast skies. We don't want the sunshine at all. We don't want the heat. We'll definitely take it. And if we actually take a look at the 1 hour totals for the future, so this is actually showing 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This is tonight. And we see that both the Euro and the GFS are in consensus that we have some amount of rainfall across sections of Eastern St. Thomas, Eastern Portland right there. Skipping ahead to about 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is actually 6 a.m. Jamaica time. We start to see even more rainfall affecting sections of eastern parishes, Portland, sections of St. Thomas, even spilling into sections of Kingston and St. Andrew, St. Mary getting in on the mix. The Euro is a bit more robust than the GFS though, with more darker blues, even greens and yellows in there off to the east of the island. But we see the consensus that eastern Jamaica is definitely going to be receiving morning rainfall. Then during the afternoon, we see that the rainfall should be spilling into sections of some central and western parishes, and we see that on both the Euro and the GFS modes. So we can rule out some more isolated thunder shower activity taking place, and we're indeed grateful. We see the accumulated precipitation forecast maps are in consensus that's going to be raining somewhere across the island tomorrow. The Euro showing up to 0.62 of an inch of rainfall, could be more, especially in areas where we see the reds, could be up to an inch. GFS showing something similar. Either way, we'll take it. We're in the month of June. We're in our secondary rainy season. We usually receive up to 133.35 millimeters of rainfall during this month. So we'll definitely take all the rainfall to do something about the heat that we've been experiencing for the past couple of months. Alright, so that is it for the forecast across Jamaica. Let us focus our attention on the rest of the Caribbean. So as stated, we have a lot of thunderstorm activity still taking place across the Greater Antilles associated with the mid to upper level trough, as well as numerous tropical waves. They'll bring some thunderstorm sections of Puerto Rico, Haiti, Dominican Republic, Cuba, sections of Florida, the Yucatan Peninsula right here. We also see that the Central American gyre is definitely wrapped up. That southwesterly flow to southeasterly flow is definitely gone out of here. So not much rainfall expected for a section of El Salvador like one time. Now it's actually, normal rainfall. And we also see the normal rainfall expected for sections of Honduras, sections of Nicaragua, Panama, Costa Rica. You can also see some rainfall pushing in from the east, affecting sections of the Windward Islands. So Trinidad and Tobago definitely getting nailed as we speak, and there's a lot more rainfall where that came from. If we take a look at the Doppler radar images of the northeastern Caribbean, we can definitely see where we're having rainfall right now. More so some hit or miss isolated shores anywhere from Dominica northward to Guadeloupe, Antigua and Barbuda, section of St. Kitts, the US and British Virgin Islands, Puerto Rico, the Dominican Republic. As a matter of fact, if we load these images from earlier, we can definitely see that there is definitely some heavy rainfall taking place across a special section of western Puerto Rico. We see those yellows, reds, some bad weather across those spots. And if we take a look at the Barbados radar, we see some isolated showers here and there, hit or miss, could be affecting sections of most areas. Barbados, Martinique, sections of St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines definitely getting it as we speak. Grenada, even scrolling down, we can see that Trinidad and Tobago even getting the brunt of it. There could be some flash flooding taking place in some spots even as we speak. If we take a look at the wider view of Doppler radar images, we can see that rainfall that we just mentioned across sections of Cuba, Florida getting in on the mix, the Bahamas, the Yucatan Peninsula, Honduras, even sections of Colombia, the ABC Islands, Suriname and French Guiana getting in on some of that as well. Taking a look at the temperature forecast for tomorrow, this map from GFS is showing 18th on Sunday, which is actually 1 p.m. on Sunday. And we do see that we're going to be experiencing average temperatures as expressed by the gray colors across the central to the western Caribbean, the Bahamas, but above normal temperatures in the yellows, oranges and reds should be affecting sections of Central America, Northern South America, the Eastern Caribbean, majority of the United States as we can see here. As relates to the Saharan dust forecast for 2 p.m. on Sunday, we see all the browns that represent the Saharan dust stretching all the way from Africa across the Mediterranean region into the Caribbean. But we're indeed grateful that we're not getting in on that very dark brown colors that we know represents the vigorous plume. We know that can cause a lot of hazy skies, not to mention trigger some amount of asthmatic conditions or sinusitis issues in some persons. So we'll definitely take the lighter shade of brown than anything else, even although we know all of this is pushing from east to west and will be in our neck of the woods soon. As it relates to the wave forecast for tomorrow, we see that we have more lighter shades of blues to darker shades of blues that represent anywhere from 0.5 meter wave height to 1.5 meter wave heights for majority of the Caribbean, and that's because the winds are going to be averaging anywhere from 10 to 20 knots across the Caribbean. And we see that both the Euro and the JFS models are in consensus with this. We see all the greens that represent those wind speeds, and we see the general direction having the winds coming in from the east across the Caribbean. However, what about the rainfall forecast? We see that we still have more rainfall in store for majority of the areas, anywhere from the Leeward Islands southward, the Windward Islands. We see that both the Euro and the JFS models are in consensus with where the rainfall is expected. So definitely, sections of French Guiana, Suriname, Guyana, Venezuela, Trinidad and Tobago, Grenada, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Barbados, if they're not already receiving that rainfall right now, it's definitely coming within the next 24 hours. Martinique, sections of Dominica, Guadeloupe, Antigua and Barbuda, St. Martin, St. Kitts and Nevis. Even although the least amount of rainfall should be across the Leeward Islands, they're still definitely getting on some isolated shores. Sections of the US and British Virgin Islands, Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic, Haiti, Cuba, the Bahamas, Turks and Caicos, Florida, the Cayman Islands, Mexico, Belize, Guatemala, El Salvador, Honduras, Nicaragua, Costa Rica, Panama, and Colombia. And we see that both the Euro and the GFS models are in consensus with where the rainfall is expected. I know that when they're in consensus like this, the chances of it actually happening are much higher. Alright, so that's it for today. Thanks for watching.